So working with Nate honestly has been a phenomenal pleasure. I view Nate as somebody who he's the kind of guy where if he sticks at what he's doing long enough, people are going to start paying attention to him pretty quickly, I'd have to say. And I think that Nate's personal passion, his personal study, has been with a lot of kind of older, and I say older, I mean, I'm talking about like Hitchcock, kind of that era for films. I think he gets a lot of inspiration for horror from more of like a psychological path, like say Hitchcock and that sort of thing, and he portrays it in a way that is refreshing. He kind of takes these old psychological ideas and says, okay, we're gonna do it this way, we're gonna try doing things this way. And what's brilliant about that is that he has the confidence and the intelligence to actually make an older idea like that work. Older horror is a lot different than modernized horror. Modernized horror is all about gore, it's all about pop scares, that sort of thing, but not something like this. We don't see a lot of films like this these days, where it's psychological, it's open-ended. So I think Nate kind of going off the beaten path is very, very ambitious. I really do believe that in enough time, with enough practice, we're gonna start hearing about him pretty soon. I have no doubt about that.
Right, that'll be the whole video because it's complimenting me. No.
So before I did this, I did sort of, stuff that was like noir based. A lot of it was very silent, not a lot of talking. There wasn't a lot of like big acting in it, I guess you could say. So I wanted to really like try to do things I'd never done before, get like really good actors and a lot of dialogue scenes. Like the other people I got in my other movies, they weren't really actors, but they were nice people that were like decided to do a film for me. Like, I'm not saying they're bad at all. They were really good for what they had to do. But I got like really good actors this time, and they had really strong performances, and that's one of the things that my favorite part about this film is that I got to have really good, strong acting performances in there, and like a lot of really good dialogue, and just I wanted to do something really weird and different. I've always been interested in like horror movies and movies about kind of crazy people. Like some of my favorite movies are like The Shining, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, The Dark Knight, stuff like that about crazy people. So I wanted to try to do that in my own sort of way, and yeah, it's been a lot of fun.
I remember when your brother came around the tree and held a knife up to his throat, and Eric said to him, like, no, you gotta like push me harder. You gotta push that knife into my throat. Like, you really gotta sell it.
It was, yeah, it's crazy because especially I was never done it before. Like, I didn't believe it. I was like, you've gotta have done this before. You're really good. How did you get this good out of not doing it before? So he gave it his all, and it was crazy.
The transition between music and the connection between music and acting is really not that far off, to be honest. I was basically thinking, okay, instead of a guitar, it's my body, it's my expression. That's the instrument that I need to play in a live setting. That's what I need to do. The way I viewed reading the script was like the Scarecrow kind of represented his past actions and his guilt, and like manifested all of that stuff into like this being, which ended up being this tangible thing that came after him. His past is basically coming back to him, and it's unavoidable, which is true in real life. So I think Paul Michaels' relationship to the Scarecrow was probably the thing that interested me most in the script.
Just what drew you to this project? What interested you about it, I guess?
Not the opportunity to play a creepy teacher. I don't know how that happens to me all the time. Nate, it's been pretty interesting to see you evolve as a filmmaker, because I've just seen your confidence grow so much, and I've seen you just go from being so uncertain about your decisions and kind of waiting for a lead from me or other people to kind of take a cue to tell you when you can move ahead, to now I see you, really kind of pushing the actors harder and making good decisions about your screenplay. I mean, even today, for instance, with this interview, this is something that, you know, you had your cut already made and you had looked at it and decided, you know, this needs something else. So now we're actually shooting some pickup scenes that, you know, that was something that when I first met you, you never would have thought of that. You would have felt like, hey, if no one told me to do this shot, I'm not going to do this shot. But now you're, you know, I think that's a really good example of just being here today, doing the extra pickups.
I couldn't be more thankful for everything everyone's done. It's been a wild ride, and I've been working on this movie since like, I think I started writing in like March of this year, and now it's like finally wrapping up, and yeah, it's crazy. I wanted to make this as good as possible.